Some of you have met her in times of rest. Some of you have met her in times of joy. It depends on what you're going through, she's going to be there. And somebody said to me one day, "Who's that little tiny lady?" And I said, "One of the strongest women I know." Oh. Please welcome our birthday girl. Oh, I've got one other thing. We have some cupcakes back there that you can only eat one if you ask Janet first, because they're her cupcakes, because they're wheat-free, dairy-free, soy-free.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So
my
you know
gluten-free
what?
buddies.
You know what else? She takes pride. So if you really want a cupcake, you can bribe
We'll work.
I think I'll take the full sugar. I can take it.
It is such an honor to be here. Well, it's like the Janet Childs Day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to share it with my beautiful Jim.
Yay.
And Jim, I just want to say something about you, because you are my rock. You and Lola both, but especially you, because Jim saves us in a lot of ways that you probably won't even know. He does crisis intervention work with us. He's gone to some very, very powerful critical incidents and brought his caring presence. In fact, one workplace that he went to said Jim was the perfect energy that we needed. Actually, their manager called back and said that. And it was just amazing and just wonderful. So he saves my ASS that way. And he also is a mainstay. And he and I come at 0700 to the wonderful CCL 4 times a year, and we do our HIV rejuvenation retreat. Jan helps with it, Eileen helps with it. Sometimes we get our wonderful practitioners to come and help. We got Annie, we've got, where's some of our other practitioners that come for AIDS retreat? It's amazing. But he comes at 0700, and then we don't leave until we put things away.
Yay!
Lola's one of our practitioners.
First one's in, last one's out.
First one's in, last one's out.
Philo, first in, last out.
That's it, Philo. And is that a military thing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a Marine.
Absolutely. First one in, last one out. So I really want to thank you all for coming out on this hot day, you know, and celebrating the Rainbow Circle, because we really are an amazing rainbow circle. Okay? And I'm going to tell you about it, because one of the things that struck me years ago when I began marching in gay parades and began, you know, becoming a part of that wonderful community, it was also made very clear to me that when we are in diversity, we are in unity. When we are in diversity, we are in unity. And it isn't until all of us can come and sit at the table. It is not till all of us can come and sit at the table that we can truly partake of each other's gifts. Until we all can come and sit at the table. Now, what stops us from sitting at the table, I believe, is this: fear. Fear is what creates hate. Fear is what creates the sense of lack, or I'm not good enough. Fear is what stops us from coming to the table. Either because we're afraid we're going to be taken advantage of, or we're afraid we're going to lose something if we give up our individual gain and sit at the table of community. And so I think it's very powerful that, you know, this is a month, May, June, that I kind of talk, I'm always kind of focused on the military too at the same time, because the military enables us to have freedom, to have the freedom. For me to speak here today about anything I wish to share with you, about what you would like to share with us as a community, we have that freedom because it is protected. And that's very powerful, because there's a great spiritual saying, I believe it comes from the Chinese tradition, and it goes something like this. True spiritual development includes the strength to protect your joy. True spiritual development includes the strength to protect your joy. So we need both the joy and the gentleness and the love, and we need the strength and the solidness and the protection. Because only in that will we be able to be strong as a community. Only in that moment will we be able to actually reclaim our power and strength, when it is braided with the gentleness. And I often think of sweetgrass, which I love. It's been something that's been a healing ceremony and herb for me for many years, burning sweetgrass, to create that gentleness, but also to create that strength. And it's amazing, because when we honor that and celebrate that, and actually have a month where we can celebrate all diversity, and that means looking at yourself and your inner diversity. I call this the Rainbow Circle because I want each and every one of you to experience not only the outward rainbow circle, but the inward rainbow circle. And that means the rainbow circle within you. The rainbow circle within you. Each of you has an inner village. Each of you has an inner council. Eileen and I have talked about this. And that's very powerful to listen to and very important to listen to, because that's where a lot of our truth will come from. And a lot of guidance will come from that inner circle that will help us inform our next step in our life. Now, what happens a lot of times is that we're taught systematically, since we're little, to not pay attention to that inner circle, to not pay attention to those parts of us on the inside that can actually give us an amazing bit of wisdom, as well as taking in advice and counsel from the outside. We need both. We need both. But until we're solid in ourselves, we're not going to be able to become a part of that rainbow circle. You know, Dr. Eileen brought out this beautiful sand painting. It's a representation of a sand painting of two spirits. Okay, and in the transgender community, we often call people two spirits. Okay, because that's a symbolic representation of holding both the masculine and the feminine and balancing those. And in many indigenous traditions, two spirits are accepted. Two spirits are lovingly embraced. They bring a special energy to the tribe, to the community. And it's very powerful. So all of the spectrum is accepted because each brings an amazing gift. And so I often tell my straight friends, please, please, please claim your straightness. Claim whatever you are on that spectrum. But we don't have to be straight and gay. We can be on a spectrum. We can be on this continuum that makes room for us as individuals, you know, to be part of bringing forth our most powerful and our most rich gifts. You know, it's so funny, I wrote up a bunch of things that I was going to say today, and not one of them was getting said. So I'm just saying, your loving energy to me has brought in something totally different. I want to tell you about Tzu-Chi. This is an amazing group, and they have touched my heart and my life. They have touched Corey and my hearts in the aftermath of the flood. And I happen to be, for any of you that have been into my bedroom, I've got lots of magazines and books and piles of things, and you know, it's a veritable library if you could find what you were looking for. But one of the things that came to me is I said, what do I need? And this appeared on the top of my pile. It wasn't there before. And I'm going to invite you to look at it. In fact, Suchi has come here, thanks to Dottie, has come here and given us a talk at CCO. And they said it was one of the most meaningful communications they've ever had in our area. Which that made me sad, a little bit sad, because we're, you know, a medium, small to medium church, you know, but we, you know, they said we have not felt such a warm and loving reception than when we came here to do our talk. But they bring the art of compassion. They're a Buddhist disaster intervention group. Okay, so they're just amazing. And what I noticed looking at the photographs is what the photographs are about is not necessarily all of the help or, what do I want to say, things that they're giving the people in the aftermath of a disaster. I just invite you to look at these photos. It's all about what? It's about their loving presence. And there's one, I think it's back here, that just moved me. Now, if you want to know something, so they're I think based out of Taiwan. So they're primarily Chinese, although there are a lot of white people in this organization as well. They all dress in the same. They wear a dark blue top and they wear a white bottom. And the reason that I say that or I share that is because they're identifiable, aren't they? But they're not invasive. So whatever culture they go to, you know who they are, but they're very respectful of the culture. And this is after the earthquake in Japan in 2016, and they're comforting. She's giving tea to this woman, and this woman is sobbing. And it's the first time she's been able to sob after the death of her loved ones and after the loss of her home. And what is she doing? What is our helper doing? She's laying her hands on her. She is reaching out with support, but with great humility, with great respect, and with great honoring. And if any of you know your history, sometimes, you know, Japanese folks and Chinese folks haven't always gotten along. You know, I mean, it's a very delicate, you know, walk that she's walking. Okay, but what they say in the article, and I love it, is they said, we steeped ourselves into the Japanese culture, and when we came on board, we immediately stopped those stupid, excuse me, they didn't say stupid, that was my word, but they stopped kind of the what they call the generic food that they give to people after disaster, and they immediately called upon the community to help them make rice balls and soup to honor what Japanese people like to eat. And one of the Japanese folks said, you know what, we haven't had tea since the disaster happened. And she came in about a week afterwards, and they made tea for everyone, and then gave it to them in the honoring way by bowing and offering the tea. It was so powerful to see this. And they've gone to different cultures and different places. And then, this is so wonderful. I just love this one. Here's an elder, and they're both laughing. Okay, they're celebrating. She's telling a story, and even though they may not even speak each other's language, what are they doing? And in this particular incident at the senior center, which was a shelter, the Tsuchi folks had arranged for the young'uns to sing and dance and play their instruments for the elders. So mobilize them to do an action step, and then it created this environment. And it just is so wonderful because their humility, their simplicity, what they bring to the table is compassion.
Jan, they are, because of the homeless in San Jose, they're always looking for volunteers to help them serve food. And down the block, we have a place in Japantown. And it's so interesting because Sue Chi specializes in helping people that are vegetarian.
Yes.
And McDonald's makes vegetarian food for them. and donates
Wow.
it to Suu Kyi to
Wow.
serve, which is really you can
That's
see
amazing.
how important it is for the community here
That
to
is
support
amazing.
them.
That's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, and they will go wherever and bring whatever, and they'll do whatever is needed, but they do it in a very low-key way and in a very humble way.
Dottie, what
And
did
they're
you say?
very diverse.
What did you say?
What did I say?
What did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. What I said is that Suu Kyi is just right down the block in Japantown. They serve food to the homeless. And our Kim Fields, that's why she's not here today, is part of that group. And they're always looking for volunteers to help them. So Suu Kyi is not just the people who belong to this organization. They want the community to help with the homeless, with the people who really need to be fed and served and helped. So if you're looking for a place to give some time, to give some energy, call them. And they're very inviting.
They are. And after the floods, they even invited me to come into one of their ceremonies, and it was quite amazing. It was like a tea and flower ceremony. I'm not quite sure. I should ask Sissy what it was about. I don't know. But it was an amazing ceremony, and they included me as part of their little ceremony. I was quite honored. But they are so loving and so compassionate. And I probably will never be one of their good volunteers because I have a tendency, as Dr. Eileen has pointed out, to look like I'm cute, but can, swear like a longshoreman on Tourette's with Tourette's.
And you don't have any time, and you have no time.
No time.
But you're so cute when you swear.
Thank you.
Because it's like a dove squawking,
You almost look at her like, wait a minute, did that come out of her mouth?
That's one of my confessions. I work on it every year though. New Year's I say, I'm gonna work on that potty mouth.
For one day.
For one day. But one of the things that I want you to know about your diversity is that we need your diversity. We don't need you to be one simple note. Did you hear our wonderful songbird when she sang her notes? She was doing notes on the guitar. She was doing notes with her voice, and it blended into this beautiful harmonic wonderfulness. Now, if we just sang one note, that would get boring after a while. And that is very true for all of us. Our uniqueness is the gift that we bring to our world. Our uniqueness. It really touched my heart when you said, I helped you to learn to love yourself. That brought tears to my eyes. Because that is, if I can do that for one person, to help you love yourself, I have accomplished my mission on earth. Because that's what it's all about. Because the minute you start loving yourself, what happens? Power happens. Change happens. We're able to move forward.
Acceptance.
Acceptance happens.
but you're able to love other people too.
That's-
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
We can't love other people really until we love ourselves. Because there will be always that part that is cut off. When we're total love of ourselves, that allows that love to flow. And when my beautiful Chris said it was like a fountain, I love that image. I love water, number one, so I can't get too much water. I love it. Fountains, oceans, rivers, lakes, I love it all. And what that means is that as it flows out, it hydrates everything. It allows everything to grow. And so your fountain, as it flows out, is amazing. And it has to come from that love of ourselves. Now let me tell you, I'm going to be very honest about myself. I struggle with depression. I struggle with bad days where I feel like I'm not doing anything. And in fact, I have to let you all know I was fired. Not from the Bill Wilson Center. I know, I saw that gasp. Not from Bill Wilson, not from the Center for Living with Dying, but I was fired from a job as a reverend at a funeral. And it has never happened to me before. I've never been fired. And what happened is I was talking with this woman, very distraught, on the phone, and our phones kept messing up. And then she said, every time I talk to you, I get in touch with my grief. And she goes, I want this to be a celebration of life. And I said, absolutely, we will make it a celebration of life. She goes, I do not want the word died or dead. I said, no problem. You don't want the word died or dead. Her daughter had died. She was in incredible pain. But whatever I did, what did it do?
Brought up the grief.
It brought up her grief. I mean, it was, so obviously I wasn't the person. So she called the funeral home and fired me. So, I mean, I was devastated by it because I'd never been fired, right? And
Oh, calm down.
she must need our energy. She must need our energy, okay? Because she was really, really hurting. And she goes, we're just going to do it ourselves. And, you know, so I said to the funeral home, you know, director, I said, well, I already made the candle for her daughter, so I'll just drop it by the funeral home. And, you know, she can take it if she wants or not. You know, I'm kind of like the candle queen, you know, so I make a candle for every occasion.
We have all your candles on the altar there, all lit and
I know. I'm so happy. I love candles. Candles are that symbol of universal light, but I also like making them very individual. I made one for Eileen's mama, her grandma, and you know, it just had to be specifically for her, and so I kind of channel that energy, you know, and hopefully sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not, but to have something physical that we can light, that we can honor, you know, that person who has died or that person that we want to celebrate and share with. I think candles are amazing. So I don't know if she ever picked it up. You know, I may check in with my funeral director and find out. But if she didn't, that has to be what? Has to be okay. It has to be okay. I have to release it. I did as much as she would allow me to do, and then I've got to release it. And I can help her energetically, but you know, I mean, I just have to release it. That is hard for me to do, my friends. It's hard for me. I'm like a dog with a bone. You know, I don't like to give up. You know, and sometimes people say, Janet, you are a real pain in the you-know-what, because I don't want to give it up. You know, I don't want to give up on people. That's where I can be very stubborn. You think so, Corey?
Yeah, just a tad.
She will not confirm nor deny.
Yeah, she knows, right, who cleans the litter box at night, so. But my friends, I just invite you, as you think about diversity, I want to also acknowledge the struggle. And Mary, I really want you to, I want to thank you for what you said earlier today. The struggle that we have, you know, when we are fighting for any kind of freedom, for any kind of justice, for any kind of ability to be fully at the table. Again, remember our rainbow circle, at the table. There's a lot of struggle with that. And I want to acknowledge Stonewall. I want to acknowledge, you know, in the LGBTQ plus community, there have been many struggles. We are still brutalizing and killing our transgender folks. And our gay and lesbian. Unfortunately, 2 lesbians were beaten up in London by 5 young men. It felt like it was okay. And that broke my heart, that we are in 2019 and this can still happen.
And yet sometimes you see the hope, because today
Yes.
I saw a photo in Facebook, back of a truck, a pickup truck, and it had a rainbow flag, it had the gay flag, and it had verbiage across it that said, "Not all cowboys are bigots. Happy Pride Week." And the man was from a very small town in Kentucky.
Oh my God!
So
That's amazing!
there's hope. There's hope.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that just makes me very happy. Yes.
I saw a report where somebody had videotaped, there was a man at an airport who was harassing, you know, a gay man who was there, and this big burly redneck cowboy, you know, and you could see him kind of moving toward the front, and the security wasn't doing anything to stop it.
Wow.
And so finally, when, you know, the perpetrator shoved the guy, this great big old guy, he grabbed him, threw him down, and he had like the 10-gallon hat, and it's like, this is not okay. He dropped him like a bad transmission. But then, that's when the security got involved.
Wow. Did everyone hear that? That was powerful. Because what he's saying is that is not okay.
Right.
When we take a stand, that is not okay. Another human being needs not to be treated like that.
And it doesn't matter what their differences are, and that's what it's
Right.
all about. You know, if you see somebody being abused for whatever reason,
Right.
somebody has to take a stand.
Absolutely.
But I think it's easy to say, but taking a stand sometimes is very difficult.
It is very difficult. You know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Right.
It's very scary to take a stand.
But the bottom line is, you say, don't be afraid to show it.
That's it.
What'd you
That's
say?
it.
Don't be afraid to show them.
Don't be afraid to show your true colors. Because, my friends, when we show our true colors, it gives other people what? The opportunity.
Yeah,
And permission.
And a permission.
Yeah.
And permission.
The thing that I've been having the hardest time with is it's real easy to love people who have like ideas. But how many of us would stand up for, say, some bigot or some person that we consider a hater because they don't, and
That's
to
it.
stand up for them even though we don't believe in what they
You
believe.
know, Mary, how I do it, because I come from a family of everything. And what I do is every time I see somebody saying something I don't like, I stop and say, that's a child of God.
Yes. Have to
And it's
remember.
that easy. That's a child of God.
But the thing is, sometimes it takes a lifetime. Sometimes it takes a lifetime.
Sometimes it takes a lifetime
To
to
find-
finally get. Absolutely.
Well, you know, that's what happens. We're old.
I don't know about you, but I ain't.
Not all of us, we got some young
I'm
cuties in
looking
there.
at magic. She and I are the part here, that's what I'm saying, you know. You get to a certain age and you go, wait a minute. Everybody's a child of God. But they just look different, act different, say different things. And
Absolutely.
sometimes they sound kind of stupid, but I don't always sound intelligent either. So, yeah, letting go of the judgment.
But you know what? That goes back to letting go of our judgment of ourselves. So if we can meet someone, when I call the rainbow circle, I'm going to call it forth. I'm going to do a little quick meditation for you, and we're going to call forth that rainbow circle. We create a safe place where people can be their true colors. Okay, and when we do that, it softens up the need to be right. It softens up the need to be right. We don't need to be right. And there's an old saying, I don't think I made it up, I think I stole it from somebody. Acceptance does not mean agreement. Acceptance does not mean agreement. So what our beautiful Mary just said, I can accept without agreeing. It doesn't mean that I agree, but I accept. One of my crisis clients is actually a Trump supporter. And you know, so I'm going, you know, when she said, well, I think he's kind of cute.
Let's make America great again.
And I said, okay. So I had to take a deep breath on that before I, you know, sent the energy, you know. I mean, that was just my perspective was different from hers. And then she started talking, and for her, you know, in her life, with her life challenges and what she'd experienced, you know, she kind of explained where she was coming from. So acceptance doesn't mean agreement. Do I agree with her? No. But do I accept her? Absolutely. Because she has the courage to walk and talk and take the next breath and not kill herself. That's huge. That's huge. And I also want to honor that people of different color, people of color, also go through a daily struggle. And we kind of joke about it, my wonderful Reverend Ronnie Grigsby, my younger brother, and I, that if I'm stopped you know, for traffic, whatever, I may be treated differently than he will be treated. That's just, you know, DWB. I mean, I hate to say it. And and I think we need to acknowledge the elephant in the middle of the room. That's the truth.
It is.
You know, that's the reality. And so when we see something happening, we can then embrace it. So there's a great movie, if you haven't seen it out, The Green Book. Have any of you seen it? It's absolutely fantastic because there's a scene in the movie where they're expected to be treated one way. They're expecting for something to come down, and the officer is actually very wonderful and nice and actually helps them get on the right road to get back to where they're going. But it's an amazing moment because you're saying they're just all gearing up for, oh, we're going to get in trouble, we're going to get, you know, something negative is going to happen. And then this one officer's action, what? Totally turns it around. Totally turns it around and said, I'm here to help you. You know? So the wonderful power of it is our actions can turn perceptions around. Can turn perceptions around. So we have that perception, okay, that this is going to happen to us, and sometimes the action will just turn it around. So what we can do, my friends, is acknowledge and express our pain. And when we're having our struggles, do an action step that's transformative and bring it right down to reconnect to what is good, which is the rainbow circle. Which is the rainbow circle. Both within us and without us. We have those parts of ourselves inside that are disenfranchised, that are not necessarily loved as much. You know, so I'm going to just do a very quick 2-minute little meditation on the rainbow circle.
Want your guitar?
Shall we have my guitar?
Sure.
Let's have a guitar. Why not?
She hasn't been heard from today.
My guitar's name is Angel.
Angel!
Angelica. Yes.
Oh,
She loves, and by the way, she loves to be played by other people.
Do you want the lines up or down?
I would love the lights down. Wonderful. And I just invite you to just go to your wonderful, safe, and beautiful place. Go to a place in nature. And as you are in this beautiful place, just notice that there are a circle of people around the campfire. And you know, in the Hopi tradition, in the Cree tradition, the time we are in now is for the Rainbow Warriors. And actually, our young people are called the Wobbly Rainbow Ponies. They are bringing in that wonderful new energy of cooperation and connection with nature. So as you take another nice deep breath, you go to join the circle. This amazing circle of healing and community. And you reach inside your heart and you bring your inner rainbow circle out in front of you so that everyone can bear witness and honor with humility your rainbow circle. Oh, circle of many colors, wrap around me like a sacred wind. Bring me home to my source. I feel whole again. in infinity shore. And as you are bearing witness to your own rainbow circle, as you are in the larger world rainbow circle, notice if there are any neglected parts of your internal circle. Are there any beings in your inner village or council that need some care, that need some comfort, that need some acknowledgement and recognition? And just give them this opportunity to be known, to be heard, to be seen, to be felt. So often we don't take time to pay homage to that internal rainbow circle. And now, what I'd love for you to do is, in that outer rainbow circle, allow them to circle around you and to lend their support and their energy and their unique gift of healing, power, strength, and love. Healing flows, love grows, hand to hand, heart to heart, we are dancing, dancing in this circle, reaching out to each other, holding the spirit together. We are one in the circle, dancing in this circle, holding the love and peace and strength and light and hope. We are together in the circle. And feel that circle spinning inside of you, outside of you. 1,000 different colors. 1,000 gifts at the table of our destiny. And we hold each other in the rainbow circle forever. And this rainbow circle has been cast. Carry it with you, my friends, as you go out into the world. Meet your rainbow circle people. Let us celebrate all that is inside, all that is outside. And with a nice deep breath, just come back into this room and gently know that we, as a community, are the rainbow circle. And that each and every one of you has a gift that is unrepeatable. And we need you all, each and every one, to your full capacity to bring healing to our world. Thank you so much.
And this is a time where we ask for donations. Please, when you get a chance, take your donation out, put it between two hands. Thank you so much, Janet. That was wonderful. I was afraid we were going to miss out on having one of your wonderful meditations. That would be perfect.
Hey, Corey. Corey, push this button.